What's up guys, welcome back to the channel for a brand new video here in Chain Brothers. Hope you guys are having a good day. Wanted to make a little announcement before we start the video, which is also the main reason why I'm doing this video in the first place. Actually, I have two things. You guys saw the DJ birthday party vid that we posted. His actual birthday is the 14th, but my birthday was the 25th of October, and I turned 20. Yes, I am the youngest here in CB. But I'm also the youngest just in general with my friend group. But also a couple days before my birthday in October, the 22nd, it was our 6-month anniversary. That's right, we've been doing this job for 6 months, and I'm not gonna lie, time is just flying by. And we're happy, we're blessed, we're glad. And you guys might be wondering, damn, these guys came swinging, like, you know, posting weekly, well, semi-weekly, right? Videos and just being on top of everything, shorts, engaging. Like, how do y'all do it? Well, thank you for clicking on this video, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. The process of making a YouTube video. Now, full disclaimer, right? I'm going to be talking about my experience, what I do, tips and tricks, stuff that helped me out, and pretty much just my personal process. You know, like I have my own tools that I use that probably other people won't use. So this is not a tutorial per se, but if you do find anything helpful in this video, feel free to use it. Leave it down in the comments. What did you find interesting? Let's get to it. So we're going to start from the very beginning. Before anything is, you know, stored on your phone or your camera, or you're sitting down on your desk, right? Or you're like hanging out with your friends, like it has to start with the first thing, which is the inspiration. This is the thing that sparks up that flame. Like, oh crap, you know, you saw something, you heard a song, a friend of yours maybe made a reference to something, whatever. It can be the smallest thing. It's just something that just gives you this eureka moment, like, oh crap, that's a good video idea. Now, the inspiration could be influential on purpose, meaning like maybe you just went on YouTube and you were trying to see what others were doing in this niche to see if you could copy it, or maybe you asked for advice and somebody gave you something back, and then that was your inspiration, right? But for me, at least for the majority of the time, I don't really go out and seek inspiration. Things just kind of hit me. You know, we already kind of know the vibes that this channel brings and the things that we want to do in this channel, the things that we post, you know, anime stuff, martial arts, music, whatever, pretty much everything that we're into, right? And sometimes in my life, I just think about something related to that, and I just come up with something, I write it down, boom, that's inspiration. And that leads us to the second point, which is from that inspiration, you get your actual idea. Now you're thinking, okay, how the video could look, which is the type of visualization. You could think of like, all right, I want this for the intro, I want this for the outro, I'm gonna do this tiny little segment here. We could go hit up this spot, record here. Like, that's where you start jotting down everything that you would like in your video. Now, another disclaimer, even though I'm gonna go in a list of different things that I do, when I'm recording, when I'm editing, when I'm posting, whatever, right? The whole enchilada, right? The whole process of making the video. Some things could get mixed up, you know, like there's times where I might, like the steps that I do at the end, I might do them first, you know? So it just depends on the mood, it depends on the day, it depends what comes to this noggin first, but most of the time it will follow this structure. So with the idea, now you're taking that inspiration and hashing it out, and it doesn't have to be literally you jotting things down like on a, you know, on a big whiteboard, like, okay, you know, like a game plan. It doesn't have to be all elaborated unless you work that way and you want things to be right there in your face visually, so you could kind of paint a picture, which is fine. That I'm kind of sometimes like that too, you know, I like to write things down. It could just be a mental note of something that you want to do. I do recommend writing it down, you know. Here in CB, that's something that we try to do most of the time. If we have ideas, we try to write them down, and then we have things in the chamber which help to keep pumping weekly videos, and it will also help you pump a lot of videos and keep that consistency, because you might have this idea and then this other idea. You might start working on this one first and then keep this one in the chamber, then you have 2 more, you write them down. If you write them down and you keep doing this every time you get good ideas or something that you think is a good idea, you're gonna have a whole stack of like, oh crap, look at all these ideas. All because you took action, you wrote them down, and you hashed it out a bit. Now when you take one of those ideas, now it's time for the plan. The idea is pretty much visualizing everything and maybe writing it down. The plan is actually taking action. It's the blueprint, but we're going to follow through with the blueprint. So I could just text my homies like, yo, we're gonna do this urbex vlog, meet up at this spot by 5 p.m. Or yo, we're gonna do like a photography vlog, just taking pictures of the city because it looks beautiful because of the sunset. Let's meet at this time. The plan is like, we're already talking about like, okay, equipment, the people are gonna be there, the setting, the time, what are we gonna record? Boom, it's the blueprint. We're gonna take action. And when we take action, that leads to the next point, which is recording. When you're recording, you gotta think about like, all right, you know, do you have your own camera? Like, you know, like a Canon, Nikon, Panasonic, Sony, whatever. Are you gonna record on your phone? Are you gonna use a GoPro? Are you guys gonna use different perspectives? Like maybe me, Ron, and Shore, we all have our different cameras and we're recording different parts. Are you gonna use a tripod? Maybe it's just a steady shot. Are you gonna use a gimbal? Maybe you're trying to show the whole landscape, like wherever you are, you know? Most of the things we're recording is stuff that you would think about before you actually press that big rep button, and then you're like, okay, now you're recording, because you don't want to talk about recording in the angles and like, oh bro, get closer while you're recording, you know? Like we should keep it like, okay bro, look, put this lavalier mic, I'm gonna be behind you, I'm gonna be recording, you know, just vlog, talk, whatever, we're in the city or we're just out doing whatever. Okay, 3, 2, 1, boom, and you start recording. And you try to record as much as possible. Obviously storage could be a bit of an obstacle if you're recording on your phone like we do pretty much all the time. So make sure that you got space. That's also very important. Like again, prior, like these are things that you check prior you start recording. Do I have space, this and that? Like, is it the right focal length? Is it zoomed? Whatever, like whatever. Again, go back to that idea, and then the blueprint that you created in the idea, and now you're like exercising it when you're recording, at least that part. Because now after recording, boom, you have all your clips, you have everything, you know, maybe you recorded some b-roll or some vlogging or maybe some sit down talk type things, or maybe you screen recorded. That's another thing. Like, you know, I know that I've been making a lot of references to vlogging, but maybe you were gaming, so it's a gameplay, maybe it's a reaction, you know? So all of those count as recording, vlog, reaction, gameplay, podcast type, like sit down talks, whatever. And at the end of that recording step, remember, try to record a lot and try to keep it high quality. So, you know, quantity, quality, boom, you have your clips, you have, you know, the film, you know, you got the vid. But now we move on to the next step, which is gather and organize. There's a pretty high chance that there's gonna be a lot of things on your phone or your camera, wherever, they're going to be messy, out of place, unorganized. You got all these clips, but maybe you have an idea of how they're gonna go. They're probably not gonna be in chronological order, like, oh, these clips are here, so they're the earlier ones, and these are the later ones. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's not always going to be like that. You might want to switch things around, you know, this goes here, whatever. When you're sitting down in front of your, you know, your computer or your tablet or your phone, wherever you edit, you know, that's where you whip out your editing software, which some of you guys might be thinking like, oh, what do you use? I literally, like I said, since I edit on my phone, I just use a little app called InShot. And InShot, I mean, people that really know me, like Shore, Ron, right? I've been using InShot for a grip. Like, I'm in my 3rd year of college, and I've been using it since I was in 7th grade. So I know it. There's also other pretty good mobile apps if you do record and edit on your phone, like LumaFusion and CapCut, and even Power Director. So yeah, you should already have the editing software that you want to use. I'm just trying to show y'all what I use. So yeah, anyway, back to the steps. When you have all your clips, boom, and you drop them on your timeline, right, on your editing software, and you're just seeing everything laid out, you take all the clips that you don't need, useless, doesn't add anything to the video, weird, and it doesn't fit in, is doing too much, whatever. You like scan everything and you're like, all right, you know, I want to look at everything and be like, okay, I don't need this. Like, I'm not even gonna bother leaving it in the timeline. Just take it out, and boom, now you have all the clips that you want in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. Now, when you take a look at the actual individual clips, there's probably gonna be a lot of parts in between clips where you maybe stuttered when you talk, or maybe there was just a part shown on screen that you didn't want to show, or maybe somebody messed up, like, oh, like you were playing a game or a reaction, right? Like your computer crashed, you gotta add whatever, right? Like things that you just want to take out, not the whole clip, but a part of the clip. That's where we do compress. When you compress, pretty much like how the word says it, you know, you're just trying to make the clip shorter by just keeping the parts that are essential to the actual final product, the video. Everything that's unnecessary you'll also take out. So with the gather and organize steps, you take out pretty much whole clips that you don't need, and you just put them in order. With the compressed, you take what you already have and you take chunks and bits from the middle that are also unnecessary and don't add anything, and it's just meh. Now when you get to the step, you're kind of halfway done, at least with the editing part, because if you see your video from beginning to end, everything that you wanted to stay is there, and everything that's you didn't want it to be there, it's already gone, it's deleted, it's not in your timeline, but it's still raw footage. So we'll get to the actual editing of all the footage later. Usually around this point where I'll add the intro. You've probably seen it in some of our videos. We have hooks, which they could be either something that's located in the video and we're just taking that, editing it and putting it in the beginning, or we're just doing something completely from scratch that's related to the video to reel the viewers in. So you don't need a hook all the time. They do help for times that you really want people to, I really want to grab the attention of the viewers. Other times the video itself is pretty entertaining and you just want to get straight to the point. No hook is necessary. Keep this in mind, when you're editing on your timeline, you want to do things in order. You want to edit the beginning first, like the hook, the intro, then you want to move into like your introduction, hey, what's up guys, then you want to move into the meat, right, like everything in the middle, then the end. Because what happens is, if you start at the beginning, then you jump at the end, and then you try to go back at the beginning, everything is out of whack because it's a timeline. So you realize that, and we'll talk about these steps later, when you add VFX, SFX, right, visuals, memes, or crop outs, right, chroma key, keyframes, layering, whatever you're adding, when you go back into the beginning, oh wait, I forgot to edit this one thing in the hook or whatever, in the introduction, everything gets shifted. It's gonna get shifted back or shifted forward, and it's happened to me a lot, especially with BGM. When you slap a BGM, and then like, oh, you actually wanted to add or delete a clip in the beginning, and you do that, and now the whole BGM sounds out of whack because if you either take something out or put something in, now what was once layered perfectly, now it's either gonna look like this or like this, like it's out of sync. Again, not really a step, but just a tip. That's why once you do that intro / hook and you're moving on to the rest of the video, leave that there. Don't come back and touch it. Like, make sure that's good. Now, I already mentioned BGM, but this is where I would usually slap the BGM. Now, in these editing softwares that we use, right, whether they're free or paid, they usually offer free options when it comes to non-copyrighted music that you can just slap on there, but the majority of the time is not what you're looking for unless you're on a rush of time and you don't really care. InShot has a lot of pretty good instrumental songs and actual songs, but most of the time I will go onto YouTube and screen record the song that I like, take that video file because it's technically a screen recording, and turn it into like an MP3 or a WAV file, pretty much just an audio file, and then slap that onto InShot. And I know there's way more other ways of doing it in a faster, easier way, but that's just how I do it. The same screen recording that I would use for screen recording games, if I'm playing like Clash Royale, like you guys have seen, right? I have a Clash Royale video, or screen recording like a reaction to something, like something that I'm watching. I'll use that same screen recording app to screen record songs on YouTube or instrumentals. And I'm an Android user and it works pretty well on my phone, so I'll leave the app right here. But yeah, the reason I put BGM at this point is that there's usually points in the music, in the instrumental, that are either a bit more solemn or slow or a bit more hype and fast, and I kind of like the music to match whatever's on screen, Most of the time we use Lo-Fi Girl. We gotta clap it up for Lo-Fi Girl because the majority of all of our videos here in Chain Brothers used a lot of their non-copyrighted music. But even with something like Lo-Fi, there'll be points of the music that are a bit more slow, and we'll put that towards the beginning when we're introducing just whatever we're gonna do, or at the end when we're saying goodbye, we'll see y'all next week. But then if there's anything in the middle where it kind of speeds up, it gets more hype, it's more charged, the music, I would like to match that with whatever's going on. And sometimes the same song or the same instrumental is not gonna provide you that, so you have different songs or different instrumentals on the same video. So yeah, pick music that fits whatever the visuals are, whatever you're showing on screen, and make sure you time it and sync it right with whatever you're saying and showing on screen again. Now moving on to the effects and transitions. Now, from now on with the steps, this is where I start doing things and editing as I go along. When I talk about effects, I pretty much mean like if I'm messing with, for example, like in the video, if I'm messing with the sharpness, saturation, contrast, or if I'm adding any type of like goofy effect like lights or wavy stuff, or like a zoom in or keyframes or freeze frame or like black and white, whatever. And transitions is just, okay, how do we get from clip A to clip B? You know, sometimes a no transition is the best transition, just a cut from one scene to another. And other times, having a nice little transition, whether it's something simple like a push in or something more animated, it works well. It adds to video. But obviously I do that now that everything is organized, gathered, and compressed. I can just edit the timeline, you know, add this here, but we're moving towards the end. So I'm editing, I'm adding transitions, I'm adding effects, and you know, I'm also like making sure that everything is aligning with the BGM. So I have the BGM and I have my clips here, and I'm just kind of like making sure of everything is aligned, everything is synced, everything sounds and looks smooth at the same time as we move along in the video. As I'm doing the effects and transitions, right, and moving from one clip to another, you know, making sure everything is cohesive, we move to the next step, which is where I start adding VFX, right, visual effects. And most of these come in the form of memes, right? If you've seen our channel, again, using the screen recording app, I will go to YouTube. If I'm thinking of a meme or like something funny that I could slap under, whether it's a photo or it's a video, screenshot, crop, and slap there, or screen record, crop, and slap under as a layer, you know, and those are the VFX. Now for the next step, and I like to do this as I'm doing the VFX, but also, you know, you could kind of leave this for the end too, is the sound effects. The sound effects is what can bring some of those transitions and effects and VFX to life. So if you have maybe like a moving transition from one clip to another, right? That's what you made first, you know, you made the transition between clip A and B to be like a moving transition, but it has no sound. After you add VFX and everything, now you can add the SFX. Like SFX is there to spice everything that you already did visually. So make sure you do it that way and not backwards, because then some moments might not click. Like, why do we just hear this sound if there is nothing correlated, you know, shown on screen? So put the sounds after the pictures or the videos, whatever you're adding. And this is where we start moving and moving until we finally get to the outro. I know that there's a lot of people that kind of do the opposite of a hook, which would be like a closer or something, I don't know, something that kind of leaves you out of the video like in a high note, you know, something cool, something either funny or something that you learned, or just like a teaser for the next video, whatever. We don't do that. Our classic is just saying thank you guys for watching and peace out. So if you like to keep it cool, calm, collected, classy, whatever, boom, that's where you add your outro. And now your video is pretty much done, right? You went through all these steps, adding all these layers, making sure everything was like at the right second, synced with the music. Everything is just looking crisp, right? And when the video is done, you gotta do a revision, a final revision. That's the step that comes after the outro. It's not going to be always a first, you know, try, you know, one bang, like, ooh, you got this with no second thoughts, no doubts. There's gonna be a lot of times where you go back, you delete this, you go back, you add this, and you're like, I don't really like how this looks. So it happens a lot, right? Like, you're making the video, but as you go along, you're also watching it many times. Kind of like too, if I'm already like 5 minutes into the video and I'm kind of thinking, this might be like a 30-minute video, I might watch those 5 minutes back to make sure, okay, everything is cool, we're good, all right, we can continue the edit, because you don't want to have like a screw up, a fuck up at the beginning, like the very beginning, and you don't notice because you never looked back, and then you just continue editing. You're gonna be like, what the heck? I didn't know that this was here. Now if I try to either add something or delete something, whatever, it's gonna fuck up the entire thing because it's at the beginning. That's why I said try to not fuck up at the beginning, because when you add or delete stuff at the beginning, it messes everything up. Go to the beginning and see it from the very, you know, very first second, like 0.000, right, where it starts, to the very end. And put yourself in the mind of not only you as the editor, but also you as an audience member. And you're gonna sit there and just watch it and try to enjoy it and also see it unbiased, you know? So what could I take out? What could I do better? What could be, you know, shifted, twisted, changed, whatever, altered? If you watch it one good time and you think everything is all right, you know, green light, boom, now we export. Please make sure you do it that way. Don't export it, then watch it back and think, oh, right? Like, do the final revision first, watch everything through, Then when you're satisfied, now you export, right? This is where you start thinking about your title and also your thumbnail. Boom, now that the video is done and it's exported, you can have a better idea of what you want your thumbnail and title to be. The thumbnail and title gotta be together like cereal and milk. It gotta be together like peanut butter and jelly. It gotta be together like salt and vinegar. You know, like your title is supposed to talk about what we're seeing in the thumbnail, and the thumbnail is supposed to visually represent what we're reading in the title. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure they align. Use keywords, and keywords is not only things that are searchable on YouTube or they're more prone to be found on YouTube search, but also things that we see on your thumbnail, elements that we see on your thumbnail. Again, talking personally, because this is mainly what the video is about, is just how I do it. I do the thumbnail first. That kind of shapes my title. So now I'm looking at the thumbnail, I'm like, all right, so how can I put this into words? But also, how can I keep this short and concise? Because you don't want a whole ass 2 sentences. It has to be something that when you look at is flashy, but not too over the top. And yes, there's some people that can get away with over the top crazy thumbnails, people like Mr. Beast, right? But those people have the time, the budget, the team to make those thumbnails not be clickbaity. You know, if you see somebody's like, oh crap, like the title and the thumbnail looks crazy, then you go to the video, it's like, bro, this is not what you know, you sold this as this, but then you show me that, and you don't want clickbait. You know, you do want to kind of over exaggerate just a little bit to get people reeled in, so keep that in mind. And just as a little bonus, we have kind of like our own little theme, our color palette here in Chain Brothers, which if you guys have picked up is red and black, and mainly red. And pretty much all of our thumbnails keep that same type of theme. If you're planning to post a lot and be consistent, make sure they all kind of look the same, you know, similar colors, and I associate that with this channel. I mean, you guys can see it in the background, I got the red, so you want to create familiarity. Now we're gonna move into the whole, okay, now we're on YouTube, right? I got the video, now we're on YouTube. So description is the next step. Now this could be as complicated or simple as you want it to be. You can do what you want, but this is what we do. You can go to our YouTube channel and pretty much take a look at all of our descriptions. They're pretty much the same. All we do is just have a brief summary of whatever you guys watched, some hashtags here and there, mainly the Chain Brothers hashtag. That's pretty much slapped on all of our content. Right under that, we have all of our individual Instagram pages for the people that want to just follow us there and see what we're up to individually. We give credit, you know, like we're not trying to steal content out here, even though I do be saying, yes, good artists copy and great artists steal. But when it comes to YouTube, you know, you do want to give credit where credit is due. So credit, you know, our Instagrams, a summary of the video, and at the end we kind of put like our stamp, like this is a Chain Brothers YouTube channel, and it has the copyright symbol right there, and it's just saying, you know, like all rights reserved. So yeah, that's pretty much the description. But some people don't even do descriptions. They might put like a word or a sentence. But if you even have the slightest care for your description, literally all you have to do is just a small like 2 or 3 sentence summary of whatever we just watched or we are about to watch as the audience. You got your title, you got the description, you got the thumbnail, you got everything in the video, boom, and you post it. If you're kind of like us and you have somewhat of a schedule, like, oh, I post every Monday, or I post every 2 weeks, or I post every day, right? Then you'll follow that. For beginners, people usually recommend once every 2 weeks, but we wanted to be a bit more ambitious and go once every week.
So that was a fucking lie.
Now your video is finally out there and it's public and people can see it. So the very last step, which is kind of divided into 2, but this engaging and monitoring. Engaging just means, right, anytime people comment under your videos, right, short or long format, you always respond, right, or pose a question, whatever. That's kind of like a rule of thumb, like a golden, you know, standard. At least, you know, it stays very true with small channels like us. Like every chance that you get, you want to engage with people on your channel because you don't have that many eyeballs on your channel to begin with. So whatever you get it's a lot, you know. Definitely want to stay on top of that and show people that, hey, you're there, you listen to them, you see their comments, and you want them to keep commenting because it's good for the algorithm. And the other part, which was monitoring. So this is from YouTube Studio usually, right? I mean, you could just go to your normal YouTube page, but YouTube Studio is very intuitive and very in-depth when it comes to pretty much all the behind the scenes and the working wheels of everything that comes within that YouTube video or just your YouTube channel in general, like click-through rates, how many likes, how many subscribers you got this month compared to the last month, and have you increased in percentage or decreased. Like YouTube Studio has a lot, and it will give you a lot very useful information that you can abstract from that one video. So those are things that you want to keep in mind, right? Engaging with people, but also going in the back and, behind the curtains and seeing like, okay, how's the video doing, and analyzing and taking that information and applying it to the next video. Well guys, that's pretty much it. Kind of a different video, but I felt like taking you guys for a ride and showing y'all what we do behind closed doors and how we kind of put our brains to work and create all these videos that hopefully you guys enjoy. I know it's very easy to just sit there on YouTube and binge watch all these videos from all these creators that you love, but we often forget that, like these people are spending hours in all these steps that I talked about. I kind of wanted to show you guys that side since it's already been 6 months, so might as well, right? You guys probably have seen all these videos and this is how we make them. Anyway, that's where I'm gonna end it. Make sure, like always, you guys like, subscribe, comment, share, and comment. Yeah, like comment, are you gonna use any of these tips? Do you do anything similar? What would you change? Are you an editor? Are you trying to be an editor? Are you gonna start YouTube? Whatever you guys want to say, leave it down in the comments. And I already said it, but I'm gonna say it again. I will see you guys next week. Peace out.